Hello there, fellow humans, and welcome to the T95E2. It is in the shop right now, obviously, if the shop would actually open the way you close it, which would be very nice, for 6,000 gold right here. And obviously the 17,000 gold is complete trash. It never existed. So 6,000 gold for full equipment and all that stuff don't seem too bad if you do want the vehicle, obviously. But do you want the tank? That's the question. Let's find that out. Now let's compare it to some other tier 8 medium tanks, especially also the Pershing back here, because as you can see, penetration is the same. All the others do have higher penetration. The Pershing, however, has better DPM even. So, as well, penetration is absolutely horrible, 180. I don't know why these tanks still exist with this low penetration. I mean, even the Panther 2 has 203, so like, what the hell, wargaming? But anyway, the premium ammo does put it up to 268, which is higher than a lot of these, except for the Brigettos. So essentially, this is a Pershing gun just with heat instead of APCR, and that is also a bit more accurate, which is not too bad. However, the Centurion does have more on that. 9 degrees of gun precision is very good. Could be 10 though, like all the others here have, except the Brigetto, which also has 9. The mobility is not that amazing, as you can see here, is 16.05, which is again worse than the Pershing. So there's that, but the effective powder weight ratio is better than the Pershing, so there's that. Essentially, what we have here is we have a premium version of the Pershing that actually does worse than the Pershing itself, on this chart at least, and that comes mainly down to the armor being absolutely non-existent, and also it having a massive cupola on top of the turret. So to answer your question, do you want this tank? No, you don't. So now let's always play it, because, I mean, then again, the video is kind of already completed, as in, don't bother with this thing, it's worse than a Pershing, and the Pershing's already not amazing, so there is that. Now, obviously, it has the pattern turret, which would suggest it has turret armor, and it does, but it has this massive cupola on top, which completely reduces any form of armor that it might have on a turret, and obviously also, even though you do have 9 degrees of gun depression, they're essentially good for playing on ridgelines, horrible to get protection because, you know, you have this massive tumor on your head, which is not really great, and should definitely be taken out. And even the real M48 pattern doesn't have it, so I am really confused as to why this thing have it, because removing it is not going to make this tank OP, it's going to make it playable. And yeah, anyway, let's now see whether we can move over here. He's hiding behind that side, so we can certainly bounce off that guy, because why not? That is fun. Now, you do have reasonable DPM, I think, with this vehicle, which is good enough. I mean, overall, it can work. The problem is, it's just not good for the price that it's sold at. If it's sold for like 4k gold, then, I mean, sure. But it is, I think, on a sort of trash level, premium level, as the IS-5, pretty much. And the IS-5 is sold for 1,500 gold, so if you do want to have a cheap trash premium, then the IS-5 is certainly a better option there. And you're probably also going to do better with it, because the IS-5 is also easier to play. Higher alpha damage and stuff like that. Also, that doesn't happen. So, 180 millimeters of AP penetration, and that's another thing. Credits! You want to have credits with a premium tank, right? That's one of the most important things. You're not going to make much credits with this thing, because 180 millimeters of AP penetration, it's not enough to pin anything, really. That is worth penetrating. So you'll actually end up either not doing any damage or shooting a massive amount of heat, which in both cases you're not going to make a lot of credits, which a premium tank should be doing, right? That's what you want to do in a premium tank. You want to make credits. You also don't want to be rushed by an Action X, because that is going to end somewhat badly. So we're going to have to get rid of him. This annoying piece of tank. So, but obviously, again, it's not very fast, this thing. So basically, yeah, thank you, VK, very much. Very nice. So, it ain't even that fast. So running away from a very reasonably fast heavy is going to be a challenge. So, what do you have with this vehicle? Besides sad disappointment? Well, that's all you have. So, why would you buy it? There is absolutely no reason to. So don't buy this tank, I think. And it is only for very skilled players, I think. And obviously, a lot of people that review tanks are good players, and they're gonna have their opinions swayed by that. I mean, I can play it. It has to be a good tank. No, it's not. It's a horrible tank. And let's do another one, because obviously it's fun, right? And it can work well, this tank, obviously, and that does work for only good players, obviously, because the thing is, there are some people out there that only review tanks for themselves, that are like, oh my god, this tank is amazing, even though they do, you know, they don't even do 3000 average damage at tier 8. You know, they're kind of noobs. So, you get the point there. I think it's important to tell people whether they're actually going to play well with it. In that case, you won't. You probably won't. This is not a tank that is easy to play. This is not a tank that is for everyone. This is an insane high-risk tank. They should only get if you are bored with normal good tanks and want to have a challenge. Something like that. Because in that case, you got one. You do have one in that case. Because it can perform well. It can indeed perform well. However, again, if you don't have the hill, which is the most important part here, and you have a T20 that hates himself or something like that, then that is not going to end well for you. And also, especially if you have a geoloing Dracula. But that's normal. Ideally, you don't want to camp in the cap circle, because that's a bad idea. But they're doing it anyway. But that's Blitz these days. So, yeah. Brain is optional. Brain is probably also currently unavailable. So, let's do that. Let's try to have another shot at this guy. If they would actually shoot him, that'd be somewhat nice. I don't think there's any textures back there, so I'm just going to peek him. Oh, finally. That took long enough. And now the T-34 somehow is in the enemy spawn, which does not make any sense, but here we are. I'm only on 300 HP, so going to have to see how we make that work. There we go. Upper plate is relatively well angled. He can get bounces like that off it somewhat easily if you do angle it like that. And if the enemy can't aim, that is, you know, because if they can't aim, then too bad. They're probably not going to shoot there as well. That's another thing. Okay, IS-5 would be nice to get rid of him. Might be done by the WZ. Yes, will be done by the WZ. There we go. And now, obviously, we have the problem of being a massive target. So, yep, just like that. Which is not great. And obviously, Draculas are always annoying, no matter whether they're good or not. And if a Dracula's camping, it's still a Dracula. And they're annoying. Okay. Let's take a shot blind in there. Those two guys are still capping, which is a sign of a very, very big skill, especially if they don't have a clan. Yeah. Then, I can use that to my advantage, though. If the Object 2 of TU comes this way, I can get some damage and, yeah, take that to my advantage. There we go. Did decap one of them, and that is beautiful. And now I can shoot him into the side while they continue to do absolutely nothing. Here we go. 2,900 damage. I think that's decent so far with this vehicle. And he's dead. Beautiful. And a T-25 that is now also dead. Look at that. Essentially, 3,000 damage, which is quite a decent result, I think, for this tank. If you do play well, that is. But overall, obviously, it's just, as you can see, it's very, very vulnerable. It's very sad. And if you enjoyed the video, if you're not sad, thank you for watching. See you for the next one. Goodbye.